Welcome back to this episode of Transitioning Humanitarians Live with Viki. Hi, Viki.
Hi, Asel. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So, we want to talk to you today about New Year resolutions that are not working or not working as we wish they would work and what to do about them. And when Viki suggested this, I was just like, this is one of the topics that I feel like we could talk about for
Yeah,
hours as to why they haven't worked, or hours about how we set them and then we forget them and all of those things, right? So that's why
yeah.
today's topic is what can you do with the ones that you have finally set, and this time you promise that you will actually get it done
Mhm.
or achieve it. And but yeah, there is a sneaky feeling of, oh, what if it doesn't? So
Yeah,
let's start, Vicky. What are your I don't know, overview, let's say, of
Mhm.
why do you think we just don't
Yeah,
get to the
yeah.
end, many of us?
I think so many reasons why they don't work, and like even statistics say that less than 10% of the New Year's resolutions work.
Mm,
So, what are the reasons that? So, I believe one of the reasons is that we sort of many of us jump on the bandwagon of okay, it's 1st of January. I have to take New Year's resolutions. I have to change something. I have to lose weight or get this job. This, and actually, um, it's a New Year's resolution is just a different goal. So we don't necessarily need the 1st of January or 10th of January. So I do believe that sometimes we may jump into oh, I have to take a New Year's resolution. I finally have to do it without actually preparing ourselves physically, mentally, or giving ourselves the tools. Um,
mm,
I know that the 1st of January or January of each year is a sort of interesting and a good momentum to do that, but we might not be ready. Uh,
mm,
to do that. For example, for myself, even my partner asked me, "So, what are your New Year's resolutions?" And I said, "Frankly, for now, I haven't done that because I'm not in a mindset and like I don't have the means to set a
mm.
real goal that I know I can, live up to and I can go for." So that's one
Yes,
of the reasons.
amazing. And I was also thinking about, like, for myself, what are the main reason for me not being able to
Mhm.
achieve several of them? And I think I've gotten better at it because I've learned a lot about it, right? So one of the main reason is I set your resolution in an excitement of, yay, let's do this. And
Mhm.
then I maybe even set like several of them.
Mhm.
And then my excitement tends to wear off. And I think that's a very natural human
Yeah.
condition, right? We can't be excited the whole time. And there are good reasons for it. And therefore, when the excitement wears off, my belief also goes away with it, in the
Mhm.
sense of I don't really believe that I can keep
Yeah.
working on it throughout the year. And therefore, I just tell myself, oh, I just don't follow through things, or
Mhm.
I don't really, I'm not good at committing, or whatever the things that I explain away, and then I don't really do it until the end,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I would say one of the main reasons for me is the pattern of like starting something with
Yeah.
excitement, and
Mhm.
then as the excitement wears off, me
Yeah.
interpreting that as motivation is not there or other things are not there, and therefore
Mhm.
I don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think what you're mentioning is probably the true for millions and millions of people, including myself.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why I didn't take any New Year's resolution yet, or maybe
Yeah.
nothing like a major, because we take it in this state of, as you say, excitement, and maybe we haven't planned fully what
Yeah.
is the support mechanism, what are the tools and means we are giving
Yeah.
ourselves, because
Yeah.
each of these New Year's resolutions, I mean, great majority of them need a change in habit, need
Yeah.
a change of what we are doing. And as we know, changing a habit is not super easy. It needs, I mean, there's so much research about it, and it needs, I mean, some schools of thought say 3 months, some schools say less or more, but it does need very significant change in our attitude on how we do things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So we often tend to think um, a New Year's resolution is a one time, is a one goal.
Yeah.
We change just once, but actually it's a
Yeah.
sustained daily effort. So that,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. I love that. And also the second thing that I was like very connected to that, it's the same thing is when the habit becomes like who we are, or we interpret it as this is who we are. This is who we are who snacks a lot, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, right?
Yeah,
Or like if it's the new resolution of not snacking, for instance.
yeah.
Or if this new resolution is I'm now gonna get up early and do physical exercise or whatever it is, then if our identity is, oh, I'm just someone who is bad at getting up early, or I consider, for instance, myself someone who does not do
Mm-hmm.
well in getting up early.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are like, when we have this identity, then it's obviously very difficult to shift it to becoming the person who actually does the things,
Mm-hmm.
who like does things on daily basis and does things also thoroughly without just like doing it for the tick of it, right? Or like, oh, I just ticked it off, now it's fine. And I think with the habit change, we really need to look at the identity shift of, okay, how can I be the person who actually sticks to whatever the meal plan that I said I would do, or the um, I don't know, exercises that I would do. And that's also one of the things that I have done for myself is I used to have the identity of I'm not good at sports. This
Mm-hmm.
was always been
Mm-hmm.
like my story, that I just like whatever I start in sports, I never finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I even hire like trainers, and then I can keep canceling on them. And that's not fair to them. That's not fair to me. But I just keep like this
Yeah.
identity of this is my story, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then last year I actually decided, okay, I need a different story, that
Yeah.
I'm someone who actually at least does something physical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my
Yeah.
health is hurting. And when the
Mm-hmm.
pain started, I started actually doing something, right? So therefore, it can be like one of the motivating factors to say, okay, now is the time to not be that person who keeps saying, oh, I'm this person, but rather being, I'm the person who walks every day, for instance.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I've been doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's amazing. And that's I love what you're saying, because sometimes, as you're saying, if you go back to the excitement, sometimes in this excitement we say we aim for something without giving ourselves the tools. We say, I'm going to, if we talk about, okay, physique, lots of people do this physique.
Yeah.
I'll quit smoking, I'll start
Yeah.
exercising, I'll lose weight, I'll lose, I don't know, 10, 20 kilos in
Yeah.
3 months. But that's really, you're setting up yourself up for failure if you're doing this, because
Yeah.
that's, it's a sustained effort, it's not that easy. So as you mentioned, trainer, and even trainer might not work, but maybe you need, if you have tried already several times this goal and it has never worked, so
Yeah.
we need to understand why, right?
Yeah.
And I think very often the tools and means that we give ourselves, whether it's a trainer, whether it is somebody who accompanies you, whether it's some other support mechanism, whether you have a health coach, if you want to
Yeah.
lose weight and you don't even know how to eat right,
Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult. So I think
Yeah.
really to see this in a realistically, in a sense, how do I stick to this plan for a year?
Yeah.
um, that's a plan for a year, but as you say, a change of narrative for a lifetime. And that's
Yes.
really the thing that is so difficult, I believe.
Yes, exactly. So I would say the one of the ways that I do it in my own life is, let's say that the goal is like be healthy, right?
Mhm.
And of course, when we say be healthy, we need to be specific. Otherwise, our brain probably just like mine says, well, today we'll do this thing and tomorrow we'll do another thing, and then we never really know what the outcome of it is, and then we get frustrated for not having the outcome, and then we tell ourselves we're a failure or we failed, and then we sit in that emotions a lot, right? So instead, what I have learned from many failed attempts is that, let's say this is the health goal of, like in my case, walking daily,
Mhm.
and in my case it's 10K per
Mhm.
day, right?
Mhm.
And then what's very useful, I find, is that laying out all the things that you need around that goal, right?
Right.
And all the like little tasks that you need around that goal and see where your resistance is,
Yeah.
meaning where you feel like, okay, I can keep up with the excitement maybe the first 5 days,
Mhm.
and then on the sixth day, when you need to wake up at a particular hour or you need to do things, and then this nagging feeling comes up of maybe not today, we're not
Mhm.
feeling well, or whatever the things are,
Yeah.
right? So in those moments, what the resistance will come up and how you will deal with it, right? So writing out all of those little steps and where you will be tripping and what you're going to do about it might be an easy way to like be honest with yourself and say, okay, these are the infrastructure I need, let's say, and here are the things that will come up,
Yeah.
and here is how I will deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's absolutely super necessary because it's usually more effort than we expect. And as you're also mentioning, there will be the days that you are not motivated. There will be the days that you want to drop it and you want to
Yeah,
forget all about it. So really,
yeah,
you need some extra motivation. Where do you get it? Is it somebody from your support network? Is it your application that is gonna ask you to do it? Whatever. I think it's really important. So
yeah,
that's why I believe sort of a thinking in a long term is really important, and also not to give ourselves too many resolutions, because I
yeah,
think it's one of the I believe reasons for not sticking to New Year's resolutions or any resolution is that there are too many, and we just overload ourselves, and like I want to do this and this and this and this, and it's a lot unless you have nothing else to do. So let's do it. I always say, and I always believe that less is more. So one or two that you really plan out and you say, okay, I'm going to do it, and this is what's going to help me, and this is how I'm going to be accountable. So I believe that also less is more. um,
yes. And also, I think what's helpful is, at least in my case, what motivates me is I'm building the skill is really the goal that I'm going
yeah.
for, not maybe even like keep looking at, okay, is the outcome that I'm wanting is there? Like, especially when it comes to weight loss, or
Mhm.
especially when it comes to certain tangible outcomes we're
Yeah.
looking for, it's so easy to get into this attachment trap of
Mhm.
it's not happening, so I must be doing things wrong,
Yes.
and all of those things, right? Which I think
Yeah.
many of us familiar with. So therefore, I always think about, okay, if I use every resolution as a skill building exercise,
Yeah.
then what is the skill that I'm really building in this case,
Mhm.
right? So in my case, it was commitment
Yeah.
to making it 1 year, right? And I have done it. Some of
Mhm.
the days I haven't, but
Mhm.
I was also honest with myself that commitment means to, let's say, 70% of the things done,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
not like
Yeah.
100% and then
Mhm.
feeling like, okay, if I didn't do 100%, that means I'm not committed. I
Yeah.
didn't want to do that, right? So that's
Yeah.
why you can see for yourself, like, what is the skill you are building through this
Yeah.
exercise, and how can you do that in a way that's like, even if things don't go the way you want to, at least you keep building the
Yeah.
muscle for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it because also most of the tests we do, they give you this 70-80%,
Yeah.
usually you pass, okay, maybe 90, whatever it is, but it never
Yeah.
requires you to have 100%. it's
Yeah.
it's, it's extremely difficult, almost impossible to always do
Yeah.
100%, because sometimes you
Yeah.
go on a business trip, sometimes you get ill, or
Yeah.
there is an emergency. So obviously we need to give ourselves a little bit of margin.
Yeah.
So I think that those things are really important, and as I'm thinking about myself or my resolutions or my goal setting, is really I try to make it in a way that I don't put extra pressure on myself. It's there
Yeah.
in my agenda, and I'm building bit by bit without expecting that after a week I will know it or I will have the skill. If I
Yeah.
know that the skill takes a long time to build, I'm not there is some of the mistakes that people do is attach expectation to this action. So don't attach an expectation, and you will see after a while you will be getting slowly to your goal. But just like in the
Yeah.
gym, you will not see results after one day. You will not see results after 3 days. Not even after a week. Maybe
Yeah.
tiny little bit, but not the
Yeah.
huge results that you are maybe looking for.
Yeah. And also I was thinking that like how can you make the process still useful even if it feels shitty or it feels
Mhm,
like, oh, I don't want to be doing this today,
mhm,
right? Whatever it is, how can you make it useful so your brain continue doing it
yeah.
anyway? And
Mhm,
in my case, the way that I do it is, okay, let's say that I wake up, I usually do my walks in the morning if I can. And then when I wake up, some of the days my brain's like, no, today is the weather is bad, it's comfy, obviously you have other things to do, why would you go, and all of those things, right?
mhm,
And then I have this feeling of like not only resistance but like heavy feeling as if something is stopping me
mhm.
from actually, going outside, right? And in that moment I tell myself, this is the time when I just process this emotion.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not even like the walk itself as such,
Yeah.
but rather let's just go and process this emotion. And
Yeah.
that always feels useful to me.
Mhm,
And as I process emotions while walking,
mhm,
then I start getting to the other emotional state. And
mhm,
then by the time I have processed through, I also know that, okay, I'm glad that I have done it.
mhm,
A, I have learned how to process even further, right?
mhm.
And B, I have kept to my commitment and I kept doing it and then feeling proud for overcoming that,
Mhm.
whatever the feeling that was inside. So that's why, whatever the way that feels useful for you, the process of doing it, like make it that way. For instance, if it's about health goal, maybe useful that you're learning certain emotions that come
Yeah.
up in the process, right? And you're getting to know yourself from that perspective of that emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're learning about your resistance, you're learning about your urges, you're learning about whatever your brain is like arguing with you,
Mhm.
all the arguments you may learn. So make it useful so you can continue doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very, very, very useful, important to really to sit with the emotion, because very often we would have the tendency to overpass,
Yeah,
to not think of it, to step over it or jump
yeah,
over this emotion, not to face this emotion, which I
yeah,
think, as you're mentioning, is a very valuable lesson that is teaching
yeah,
us something about ourselves that we have
yeah,
been resisting
yeah.
to know about ourselves. Yeah.
And also the other thing I'm learning, at least for myself, that when I set resolutions and then I don't really achieve it, that's also another part of my belief that I don't really achieve my goals. Like it feels like sabotage in a weird way.
Mhm,
And one of the ways that I have found out is that I have really looked at, like, at the time of setting my goals, what was my belief about that goal,
mhm,
right? If my belief was, I'm never going to achieve this,
mhm,
it's never going to happen. And then, but I'm like, but I know other people are doing it, so I may as well.
mhm,
If this is the type of like place I'm setting goal from, then
mhm.
eventually I like fall out of my
Yeah.
belief that it's gonna work, or
Mhm.
I don't really believe that I can finish until the end, and therefore I sabotage myself in that sense and don't finish it, and then just confirm to myself, you see, it wouldn't work. You
Yeah.
see, I couldn't have achieved it anyway, and I just keep like confirming whatever initially I was believing. I just keep confirming with more
Yeah.
evidence of failure. And I really want you to like also when you are making this type of resolution, like Viki was saying, is taking time to really, do I want to do this?
Yeah.
What would be my reasons for doing it?
Yeah.
Am I doing it out of reasons that I'm going to like enjoy the process or learn from the process, even if I don't get the goal, or I'm going to beat myself up and create another evidence for how I'm not good at this and that,
Yeah.
and then make it not useful
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because our brain functions in a way that it wants us to keep on doing the same things. So
Yeah.
unless we make a really conscious, sustained effort to do
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah.
our brain will keep us driving us. Oh, you've always been doing it this way, so you just
Yeah.
continue doing it this way. Fail the same way, do the
Yeah.
same way. Don't go out of the way. This is really the
Yeah.
autopilot, the thing that we have.
Yes.
It does. That's why I always say, what is the one thing, maximally two things you want to
Yeah.
do? Because if we take too many resolutions, I think we're taking a greater risk of not.
Yes. Exactly. And also the thing that has been helpful so much this year, especially, I have like one of the things I told myself, I want to learn to be thorough. This is my resolution.
Mhm,
And I thought, okay, in whatever I'm doing, I will try to be thorough, whatever my definition
mhm,
of that is, right?
mhm,
So I think if anyone like looking for a very, I don't know, light or not pressury sounding goals or
mhm,
resolutions, then it might be like, I think you've heard about choosing one word that
mhm.
resonates, that you
Yeah.
want to use it and
Mhm,
guided by, right? And I was really like exploring that with some of my clients. They tell me I really want to be authentic this
yeah.
year in whatever relationship, every relationship,
Yeah.
right? Or I will want to explore being honest everywhere.
Yeah.
And I love those type of resolutions also because it just gently reminds us, oh, in this case, are we being honest or
Yeah.
not, right? And if not, how can we be next time?
Yeah.
And that type of changes might be actually even so powerful. And if you're into that, try that as well.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a beautiful example that you're saying, because it is not some sort of a bombastic New Year
Yeah,
resolution that we often, as you mentioned, have a tendency in this excitement to do, but it's really a very genuine and simple resolution that
yeah,
actually has reverberating effects on our life, right? At the
exactly.
authenticity or what other thing, I want to be more present. For me, I'm thinking I want to be more present, because sometimes
Yeah,
the mind goes here and there,
yeah,
and multitasking, which is one of the worst things anyhow to do. So how am I more present? And I think
yeah,
these kinds of resolutions that maybe do not sound bombastic or like extraordinary, but have real long-term effect, positive
yes.
effect on our lives.
Yes, and you can, like always think about like another way you can resonate to it maybe is that I want to be this person this year, right? Whatever that is, you can just choose one, whatever resonates with you most. For instance, one of my clients tell me that she wants to be the person who like finishes until the end, or another one is saying that what if I just want to be the person who does not shy away from offers or
Mhm.
speaking engagements because I'm afraid of like public
Mhm.
speaking, right? I just want to say yes to them and then and go and explore that. So whatever the way that feels like true to you to say, what if I this year I'm gonna be the person who is resilient,
Yeah.
right? Or who is courageous,
Mhm.
and then go and explore being that person. I think that's a beautiful way to set
Yeah.
resolutions. And I like, for instance, to always go back to like maybe monthly to look at,
Yeah.
okay, am I really being this
Yeah.
person? Like in my case, thorough, right? And
Mhm.
how am I being thorough? Where I'm not and why? And that's just like additional ways to reflect on
Yeah.
who we're being.
Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit of
Amazing.
monitoring of our own of our own New Year's resolution, which actually that's how it is. We need to check back with
Yes.
ourselves where we are. So I think it's really
Yeah.
without heavy mechanisms, just something very simple. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing maybe it's like without saying is that don't like make resolutions out of I should
yes,
because
of course.
everyone else seems to be doing it and let's just go and do that. Or I haven't been able to achieve XYZ, so I should never, right?
Mhm.
These are, I think, not really useful ways to start a
Yeah.
resolution if your heart feels like called to doing it and you just want to do it because it's the thing that you like doing.
Mhm.
I rather prefer that I keep doing whatever my heart wants to, even if let's say I fail, but at least
Mhm.
in the time I have given myself a chance and I just allowed myself to do that. And then
Yeah.
every time I've learned. So I have, I think, failed so many times in my resolutions.
Yeah.
And I have also gained so much insight
Mhm.
that now I feel like if I set one, it's going to be more serious,
Yeah.
right? And also I'm willing to commit to it more.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And for me, it's also for me the learning is give yourself more tools or some support mechanisms because I tend to do things by myself. So, but we are interconnected beings. We rarely
Yeah.
manage everything completely by ourselves. So, really, give yourselves a tool, something to support the implementation or reaching that resolution.
Yes.
My
Exactly.
Mhm.
I love that. And I would love to encourage people to do this for the sake of exploring yourself, right? Most importantly, I feel like that's really the goal here is to explore how you do things, how you don't do things, why you do things that way. And also, like every time bits by bits becoming the person that you're thinking, oh, that's me,
Yeah.
and coming closer to that. And yeah, and in the process, using whatever the tools that you find useful, being coached. I love being coached on any of my resolutions because I want to
Mhm.
become the person who like does things and commit to things,
Mhm.
right? So therefore coach can help in
Yeah.
that process as well. So let us know if you need coaching on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have said a lot. Vicky,
Yes,
anything?
yes.
Yeah. So then, yeah, we wish you a great resolution year, whatever your resolution is. And if you have any questions or need coaching, let us know. In the
Mhm.
meantime, happy week. Thank you so much. Thank you, Viki.
Thank you, Asel. Thank you, everyone. Happy week, and let us know if we can help you with resolutions. And maybe don't forget that you don't have to take them right now. You can also take them a week later, 2 weeks later.
Absolutely. Yes. At your own pace, whenever it feels good to you. Thank you. Bye, you all.
Bye bye.